I had shot a cover of Keanu Reeves for French Vogue. I was the only woman that had a story in the magazine at all, and it was the cover story. The glass ceiling was so low that it did not take me long to hit it, and I could not go any further. The majority of images that we see being created by one lens, if we are left out of our own narrative, we cannot see truthful representations of ourselves. Fundamentally, whenever you have one perspective on anything, it's not balanced. It's not representing everybody who lives in the world, right? If we only had the female perspective, that would be problematic too. Our goal is to get you hired. And so brands, companies, organizations who want to hire diverse female creatives pay a fee, a subscription fee, and based on how many jobs they think they're going to post, they buy a package that has varying prices. And they can post jobs, and they can also search our database for creatives who match the criteria of the job that they're looking to fill. I don't think that any creative should be removed from the opportunity of being hired because they can't afford to be on the platform. That's not what we're about. If your work is good enough and your work fits the brief, you should be hired. We know that there are certain biases that go into people being hired or not being hired, quite frankly. We know that gender, race, lack of education, location, those are all things that hinder someone being hired. And what we believe at Girlgaze, and what I firmly believe, is that people should be hired for their work. They should be hired for their skill. Based on all the studies and all the research we've done, we know that by redacting that key information, people are more likely to hire the best candidate. The non-bias feature on the platform allows people to choose, do they want that information redacted, and do they just want to look at the work? That's how it should be. Girlgaze is really my dedication to opening the doors and the floodgates for the next generation of creatives to be hired and to be valued for their perspective and their work. Because of my own experiences and the limitations I had, I don't want it to be the same for the next generation. I, as a photographer, was not hired for my skill because of my gender, and people who were less successful than me but were of a different gender were getting hired to do the big paid jobs, and I wasn't. It took me a long time to realize that it actually had nothing to do with the quality of my work, that it was something else. And that was pretty devastating to have that experience, that it doesn't matter how good your work is, it doesn't matter how hard you work, it doesn't matter how many hours you put in. The fact that you look like me and I identify as female means I couldn't get any further. For me, the ultimate problem with the majority of images that we see being created by one lens is that if we are left out of our own narrative, we cannot see truthful representations of ourselves. There is a way we look at ourselves and other females that is different to how a male will look at us. When we can't see honest representations of ourselves, it doesn't allow us to embrace all of ourselves, right? The flaws, the imperfections, the bits that you wish weren't there. It's about a full ownership of who we are, and we are all different. We all have different flaws. It takes someone who has the experience of living in a similar skin to be able to identify with that experience.